You might find yourself pursuing everything the world promises: success, influence, and boundless wealth. You meticulously built an empire, believing each acquisition brought you closer to ultimate happiness, securing a life free from worry. This quest for material abundance often leads to a subtle but profound spiritual void, a realization that true contentment remains elusive despite accumulated riches. This video explores a profound transformation, a journey from material opulence to spiritual richness. It delves into the narrative of a woman who once had everything money could buy, yet felt an emptiness no luxury could fill. Her story is a testament to the universal human search for meaning beyond the tangible, highlighting the true cost of unchecked ambition and the unparalleled value of inner peace. We will carefully trace the trajectory of her life, from the heights of financial power to the depths of despair, and ultimately to a rediscovery of faith. This isn't a tale of instant miracles or unrealistic promises, but a deeply human account of resilience, introspection, and the gradual awakening to a different kind of wealth. You will see how loss can pave the way for an unexpected spiritual bounty. My purpose here is to share a story that resonates with many, drawing on patterns of human experience and spiritual growth observed across cultures. While not a literal biography, this narrative reflects a common spiritual journey. It offers a framework for understanding how trials, even devastating ones, can serve as catalysts for profound personal and spiritual transformation, emphasizing universal truths. To truly appreciate her transformation, you must first understand the world she inhabited, a realm where every desire seemed instantly gratified, where success was measured purely by financial metrics. Picture a life meticulously curated, yet paradoxically, slowly eroding the very foundations of her soul. This context is essential to grasp the monumental shift she was about to experience. Imagine your early life marked by an insatiable drive to succeed, to prove your worth through material accumulation. You started with ambition burning bright, turning every challenge into an opportunity, every risk into a calculated win. The financial world became your playground, and you mastered its rules, rising rapidly through the ranks with an almost intimidating efficiency. Your days were a whirlwind of high-stakes meetings, international travel, and strategic maneuvers that expanded your formidable portfolio. You acquired properties, luxury vehicles, and art collections, each piece a testament to your unparalleled acumen. Friends and acquaintances surrounded you, drawn to your charisma and perhaps your undeniable power and connections. From an outside perspective, your life was the epitome of success. You controlled vast sums, influenced markets, and dictated trends. Yet, beneath the veneer of perfectly tailored suits and opulent surroundings, a subtle disquiet brewed. You might occasionally catch yourself wondering if this relentless pursuit truly brought the deep fulfillment you initially craved. Despite your wealth, genuine relationships often felt transactional, measured by what could be gained or lost. You provided generously, but perhaps expected a certain deference in return, fostering a subtle emotional distance. The concept of unconditional love or selfless giving was secondary to strategic partnerships, viewed through a lens of utility rather than true connection. This environment, rich in material gains but sparse in authentic human connection, slowly built a wall around you. You grew accustomed to solitude within your splendor, mistaking independence for isolation. Now, as we delve deeper, prepare to witness how this gilded cage began to show its first, almost imperceptible cracks, challenging everything you thought you knew about life. You prided yourself on being self-made, attributing every success to your sharp intellect and tireless effort. Humility was a concept you admired in others, perhaps, but felt little need for yourself. After all, your achievements spoke for themselves, validating your every decision and reinforcing a belief in your own infallible judgment. Your spiritual life, if you could call it that, was relegated to occasional, perfunctory gestures. Perhaps you attended a charity gala or donated to a cause, feeling a fleeting sense of goodness, but rarely reflecting on a deeper connection to something beyond yourself. God, if thought of at all, was a distant entity, perhaps overseeing others, but surely not intimately involved in your meticulously structured existence. Your worldview was entirely empirical, grounded in observable facts and measurable outcomes. Emotional responses were often seen as liabilities, to be managed and controlled, never indulged. This rigid adherence to logic and control extended to every facet of your being, creating a formidable, unyielding persona that few dared to challenge. You believed you were the master of your destiny, the sole architect of your fortunes. This conviction, while initially driving your incredible success, also fostered an increasing detachment from the unpredictable, the vulnerable, and the sacred. It was a philosophy that worked until it didn't, leaving little room for grace, mercy, or unforeseen circumstances. This unwavering self-reliance, however, left you unprepared for forces beyond your control. You had built a fortress of wealth, but failed to construct an inner sanctuary for your soul. Now the storm clouds were gathering, imperceptibly at first, threatening to dismantle the very foundations of the world you had so carefully constructed. The first tremors were barely noticeable, subtle shifts in the market you once effortlessly dominated. A promising venture unexpectedly faltered, then another. You initially dismissed these as minor setbacks, temporary blips in an otherwise flawless track record. Your immediate response was to double down, pouring more resources into attempts to stabilize the situation. You deployed all your financial acumen and connections, confident that your experience would inevitably turn the tide. Advisors, though initially cautious, often deferred to your overwhelming confidence and past successes. The idea that you could be wrong, truly wrong, was an alien concept, quickly pushed aside by your formidable self-assurance. These early challenges, while financially significant, didn't touch your personal pride or your core belief system. You saw them as obstacles to be overcome, mere puzzles to be solved, rather than harbingers of a deeper shift. Your focus remained purely on the numbers, the strategies, the external battle, overlooking any internal reverberations. You continued to project an image of invincibility, even as concerns began to mount in private conversations. The thought of admitting vulnerability or requesting genuine help felt like an unacceptable weakness. After all, you were the one who always had the answers, the one who others looked to for guidance, not the other way around. Yet this relentless drive to control every variable began to exact a toll, albeit a subtle one. Sleep became less restful, and a persistent unease settled beneath your confident exterior. You were pushing harder than ever, unknowingly nearing a threshold where your established methods would prove entirely insufficient, setting the stage for an unprecedented unraveling. As the market dynamics shifted more aggressively, your usual strategies began to yield diminishing returns. The once reliable algorithms you trusted seemed to lose their predictive power, and the carefully cultivated relationships offered less leverage than before. You found yourself battling against an unseen current, stronger and more relentless than anything you had encountered. The news started to report on wider economic downturns, framing your personal struggles within a larger, unavoidable storm. Still, you fought back with every financial tool at your disposal, liquidating assets, restructuring deals, trying to outmaneuver the inevitable. Each day felt like a high-stakes chess match, with the stakes rising exponentially. Your inner circle, once a robust network of allies and admirers, began to thin. Some offered hollow condolences, others distanced themselves quietly, sensing the shift in your fortunes. You observed these departures with a growing sense of bitterness, reinforcing your belief that loyalty was just another commodity bought and sold. The emotional impact of these defections was profound, though you consciously suppressed it. You told yourself you didn't need fair-weather friends, that you were strong enough to face anything alone. This self-imposed isolation, however, deepened the chasm between your external composure and your internal turmoil, leaving you increasingly vulnerable. This period of relentless struggle tested your resolve, yet your pride remained largely intact, albeit fractured. You refused to concede defeat, determined to prove everyone wrong, including the silent voice of doubt that had begun to whisper in your own mind. You were heading towards a precipice where pride would collide with reality, initiating a much more profound kind of loss. The cascade of losses accelerated, transforming from isolated incidents into a systemic failure that threatened to consume everything. Key investments plummeted, major deals collapsed, and the intricate web of your financial empire began to unravel with terrifying speed. The meticulously built edifice was crumbling, brick by brick, before your very eyes. You spent countless nights staring at financial reports, the numbers a blur of red, your once sharp mind struggling to comprehend the scale of the devastation. The weight of impending insolvency, of losing decades of tireless work, pressed down on you, suffocating and relentless. Your usual resilience felt utterly drained, replaced by a deep-seated dread. The public scrutiny intensified, with news outlets chronicling your spectacular downfall. The same media that once celebrated your genius now reveled in your misfortune, dissecting every misstep with ruthless efficiency. This public humiliation added another layer of agony, eroding your reputation and the carefully crafted image you had maintained. Your once palatial home, filled with priceless art and luxury, began to feel like a cold, empty monument to a bygone era. The silence within its grand halls amplified your growing despair, the absence of genuine human connection more palpable than ever. You were surrounded by material wealth, yet felt poorer than you could have ever imagined. This period stripped away not just your financial assets, but also your sense of control and invincibility. It was an involuntary lesson in humility, forced upon you with brutal efficiency. You were about to discover that the fall from grace could be far more jarring than the ascent, leading to a profound reevaluation of what truly mattered. As the final legal and financial battles concluded, the harsh reality settled in. You had lost everything. The empire you meticulously constructed was gone, leaving you with little more than memories and a mountain of legal bills. Your bank accounts were empty, your properties seized, and your name, once synonymous with power, now evoked a whisper of tragedy. The loss wasn't just financial, it was an existential crisis. Your identity had been so intricately woven into your achievements and your wealth that without them, you felt adrift, directionless. The very essence of who you believed yourself to be was utterly shattered, leaving you with a profound sense of void and purposelessness. The people who once flocked to your side vanished completely. The phone stopped ringing, invitations ceased, and the once bustling social calendar became starkly empty. You experienced a loneliness so profound it felt like a physical ache, realizing the transactional nature of most relationships you had cultivated over the years. You found yourself in an unfamiliar apartment, modest and quiet, a stark contrast to your former grandeur. This change of environment, though a necessity, symbolized the complete dismantling of your old life. Every mundane task, every simple decision now carried a weight it never had before, forcing you to confront basic realities. This complete and utter loss, while devastating, also created an unexpected vacuum, a space where something entirely new could eventually take root. You were stripped bare, devoid of the distractions and self-deceptions that wealth had afforded. You were unknowingly entering a phase where the material void would begin to invite a spiritual awakening. In the quiet solitude of your new, humble surroundings, the raw emotions you had suppressed for years began to surface. Grief, anger, regret, they washed over you in waves, leaving you exhausted and vulnerable. There was no longer an empire to distract you, no deals to close, just the stark reality of your present circumstances. You grappled with the question, why me? This query wasn't born of self-pity alone, but a genuine confusion about the injustice of it all. You had worked harder than anyone, played by the rules you understood, yet found yourself utterly broken. It felt like a betrayal by a system you had always believed in. One evening, staring out a window at a quiet street, a memory from your distant past flickered. A Sunday school lesson, a faded image of grace or divine presence. It was a fleeting thought, almost instantly dismissed, yet it planted a tiny, unacknowledged seed of something beyond your empirical worldview. The constant need to be in control, once your greatest strength, now felt like an unbearable burden. You recognized, perhaps for the first time, that some things are simply beyond human manipulation. This realization, initially terrifying, also carried a subtle, almost imperceptible sense of release from an exhausting, relentless struggle. This period of deep reflection, though painful, served a crucial purpose. It chipped away at the hardened shell of pride and self-reliance, creating fissures through which a different kind of light might eventually penetrate. You were slowly, reluctantly, opening yourself to questions for which money offered no answers, paving the way for something entirely unexpected. Days turned into weeks, marked by a pervasive emptiness. You found yourself drawn to simple routines, walks in a nearby park, visits to the local library, anything to fill the vast expanse of time. In these mundane activities, away from the clamor of your former life, your mind began to quiet, allowing new thoughts to surface. You started observing the world around you with a fresh perspective. The laughter of children, the resilience of a small flower pushing through concrete, the genuine kindness of strangers. These small moments, once invisible to your driven focus, now registered with surprising clarity. They hinted at a beauty and order beyond financial statements. During one particularly difficult afternoon, overwhelmed by a wave of sadness, you found yourself wandering into a small, unassuming church. You didn't know why, perhaps just for the quiet, the cool air. You sat in a back pew, an unfamiliar feeling of peace washing over you, different from any tranquility your wealth had ever provided. There were no grand revelations, no sudden epiphanies in that moment. It was simply a space of stillness, a respite from the storm within. You didn't pray, didn't understand the rituals, but you felt a subtle pull, a sense that there was something here, an unspoken comfort that resonated deep within your fractured soul. This quiet encounter, this unexpected solace, marked a turning point, though you wouldn't recognize its full significance until much later. It was a subtle invitation, a gentle whisper in the midst of your personal wilderness, suggesting a path to healing that lay entirely outside the material world you had always known. Driven by an inexplicable urge, you began returning to the small church, not for sermons, but for the quiet contemplation it offered. You sat and listened, absorbing the hymns, the readings, and the simple message of community and faith. These experiences were foreign, yet strangely comforting. Like discovering a forgotten language within yourself, you started to encounter members of the congregation, people from all walks of life, whose genuine warmth and acceptance were a stark contrast to the superficiality of your past connections. They offered kindness without expectation, support without judgment, and a sense of belonging that money had never been able to buy. One elderly woman, a regular in the pew ahead, noticed your quiet presence. She offered a gentle smile and, eventually, a kind word. Her simplicity and genuine warmth were disarming, chipping away at the skepticism you had built around human intentions. She embodied a different kind of wealth, one measured in compassion and spirit. Through these interactions, you began to glimpse a different value system, one centered on love, forgiveness, and service. It was a world fundamentally opposed to the cutthroat competition and self-interest that had defined your life. This new perspective was both challenging and incredibly appealing, offering an alternative path to contentment. This period of observation and tentative engagement was crucial. It wasn't about instant conversion, but about an honest, unhurried exploration. You were slowly letting down your guard, allowing yourself to be open to a wisdom that transcended balance sheets and market trends, preparing your heart for a deeper, more personal connection. The teachings you heard in the quiet church, particularly those concerning humility and unconditional love, began to resonate with increasing power. You started to reflect on your past actions, seeing your own arrogance and self-centeredness with a clarity that was both painful and liberating. The pride that once defined you now felt like a heavy burden. You realized that your relentless pursuit of material wealth had inadvertently led to spiritual poverty, creating a hollow existence. The constant need to be superior, to always win, had prevented you from forming genuine connections and experiencing the simple joys of life. This self-awareness was the first step on a long road to transformation. As you began to shed the layers of pride, a profound sense of empathy started to grow within you. You looked at the struggles of others, not with judgment, but with a nascent understanding, realizing that everyone, regardless of their circumstances, carried their own burdens. This newfound compassion softened your heart. This shift in perspective wasn't easy. It involved confronting years of ingrained habits and beliefs. It was a daily battle against the urge to revert to old patterns of thought, to measure worth by external achievements. Yet each small victory in cultivating humility brought a deeper sense of peace and authenticity. This period was a crucible, burning away the dross of your former self and refining something purer within. You were learning that true strength lay not in dominance, but in vulnerability, and that genuine connection sprang from a place of shared humanity. This profound internal work was laying the groundwork for how you would eventually rebuild your life. With growing conviction, you started to actively engage with the church community, offering your time and limited resources. You volunteered in the soup kitchen, helped organize local events, and listened to the stories of those less fortunate. These acts of service, once unthinkable, brought a surprising depth of satisfaction. You found that helping others without expecting anything in return filled a void that material possessions never could. The genuine gratitude in someone's eyes, the shared laughter over a simple meal, these moments became far more precious than any luxury item you had ever owned. You were experiencing the true joy of giving. Your interactions with people became authentic, stripped of the pretense and calculations of your former life. You listened intently, offered genuine encouragement, and found solace in shared vulnerabilities. The community embraced you, not for your past wealth, but for the person you were becoming, humble, kind, and present. You realized that your past successes had, ironically, isolated you from these very experiences. Money had created a barrier, a shield that prevented you from truly connecting with the human experience in its rawest, most beautiful forms. Now, free from that burden, you felt more alive and connected than ever before. This newfound purpose, rooted in compassion and service, was gradually reshaping your identity. You were no longer defined by what you owned, but by how you contributed, how you loved, and how you connected. This spiritual enrichment was laying the foundation for a life far more meaningful, demonstrating the priceless gifts that faith provides. The spiritual transformation continued to deepen, and you began to understand the profound truth behind the message. Faith is worth more than any fortune. You recognized that your financial losses, though devastating, had been a necessary catalyst for discovering this invaluable insight. It was a painful gift, but a gift nonetheless. You found true peace not in the absence of problems, but in a renewed sense of purpose and trust in a higher power. The anxieties that once plagued you, the relentless need for control, slowly dissipated, replaced by a quiet confidence that transcended worldly circumstances. This inner calm was a treasure beyond measure. You discovered that the joy you now experienced was independent of external factors. It sprang from a deep well of gratitude, from simple acts of service, and from genuine connections with others. This was a lasting happiness, resilient in the face of adversity, something your previous life had never truly offered. Your spiritual journey taught you that true security lies not in bank accounts or material assets, but in faith, in community, and in the unwavering belief that you are part of something larger than yourself. This realization liberated you from the fear of loss, as you understood that what truly mattered could never be taken away. This profound understanding became the cornerstone of your new existence, a testament to the transformative power of faith in the face of immense adversity. Your story now serves as an inspiring beacon, illuminating the path for others who may be searching for meaning beyond the material, showing what truly endures. This journey from ultimate material wealth to profound spiritual richness is a powerful narrative, offering a mirror for all of us to reflect on our own values. You may not face the same magnitude of financial loss, but the underlying questions about purpose, identity, and true fulfillment are universal. The woman's story underscores the idea that sometimes the greatest treasures are found only after everything else has been stripped away. It challenges the conventional wisdom that equates success solely with material gain, inviting us to consider a broader, more profound definition of wealth. Her transformation is a testament to human resilience and the enduring power of faith to heal, to guide, and to provide solace. It illustrates that even from the ashes of personal devastation, a new, more authentic self can emerge, grounded in values that transcend the fleeting nature of worldly possessions. This narrative doesn't suggest that poverty is a prerequisite for faith, but rather that unchecked pride and material obsession can create barriers to spiritual growth. It highlights the subtle ways in which the pursuit of having more can inadvertently lead to being less, spiritually and emotionally. Ultimately, her journey serves as a reminder that the most valuable possessions are intangible: love, kindness, compassion, and a connection to something greater than ourselves. These are the riches that endure, providing true security and lasting contentment, regardless of external circumstances, offering a blueprint for a life truly well lived. This story is not about demonizing wealth, but about reprioritizing what we deem valuable. It teaches that while financial resources can provide comfort and opportunity, they are ultimately tools, not the end goal. When wealth becomes an idol rather than a means, it can blind us to deeper truths and responsibilities. The woman's initial belief that money could solve all problems led to a dangerous complacency, preventing genuine introspection. It created an illusion of control that kept her from recognizing her own vulnerabilities and her inherent need for connection, both human and spiritual. This self-deception is a common pitfall. Her journey challenges us to examine our own lives. Where do we place our trust? What truly drives our decisions? Are we pursuing external achievements at the expense of internal well-being? These are not easy questions, but her experience demonstrates the profound importance of honestly confronting them. Consider how often we are told that more is always better, whether it's more money, more possessions, or more status. This narrative, however, subtly suggests a different kind of abundance, an abundance of spirit, of peace, and of purpose, which defies conventional metrics and offers a richer form of fulfillment. Her transformation underscores that true wealth is an internal state, cultivated through humility, service, and a deep sense of gratitude. It's a wealth that cannot be bought, stolen, or lost in a market crash, positioning her story as a powerful antidote to a world often obsessed with fleeting material gains. The woman's journey also highlights the often overlooked value of community and genuine human connection. In her opulent past, relationships were often strategic. In her spiritual awakening, they became a source of strength, solace, and unconditional love. This shift reveals the profound human need for belonging. When you lose everything material, you are forced to rely on the kindness of others, opening your heart to receiving and giving in ways previously unimaginable. This vulnerability, initially terrifying, ultimately became a conduit for true connection, breaking down the walls of pride and self-sufficiency she had erected. The shared meals, the conversations, the simple presence of others who cared, these were the new luxuries. They provided a warmth and comfort that no designer label or five-star dining experience could ever replicate. This communal support became a lifeline, nurturing her spirit in ways money never could. Her experience underscores that true friendship and community are built on shared humanity, empathy, and mutual support, not on status or financial advantage. These bonds, forged in vulnerability and genuine care, proved to be far more resilient and comforting than any fleeting alliance based on wealth. This realization about the indispensable role of authentic human connection in her healing process is a vital component of her spiritual awakening. It's a reminder that we are not meant to navigate life's challenges alone, and that true richness often lies in the fabric of the relationships we cultivate, leading us towards a deeper sense of belonging. Her rediscovery of faith was not a sudden, dramatic event, but a gradual unfolding, a gentle awakening. It was a process of opening her heart and mind to possibilities beyond her empirical understanding, a slow surrender to something greater than herself. This gradual nature makes her journey relatable and authentic. You might recognize this slow, persistent whisper of something more in your own life, moments where conventional explanations fall short. Her experience reminds us that faith often begins not with certainty, but with curiosity, with a willingness to explore questions that defy easy answers and push beyond our comfort zones. Her path demonstrates that faith isn't about adhering to rigid doctrines as much as it is about cultivating an inner posture of openness, humility, and trust. It's about finding strength in vulnerability and peace in acceptance, allowing a spiritual dimension to permeate everyday life, transforming the mundane into the sacred. This quiet, internal revolution ultimately reshaped her entire worldview. It shifted her from a perspective of scarcity and competition to one of abundance and cooperation, understanding that true blessings are not finite. This change brought with it a profound sense of interconnectedness with all of creation. The journey of faith, as shown through her experience, is a testament to its power to provide meaning, hope, and resilience in the face of life's inevitable storms. It teaches that even when everything seems lost, there remains an unshakable foundation of spiritual truth that can guide us forward, connecting her profound internal shift to universal spiritual principles. The transition from overwhelming pride to genuine humility was perhaps the most challenging aspect of her spiritual rebirth. Pride had been both her shield and her sword, protecting her ego while cutting down perceived rivals. Letting go of this deep-seated trait felt like shedding a part of her very identity. Initially, every act of humility felt like a defeat, a concession to weakness. Yet, with each small step, admitting a mistake, asking for help, serving without recognition, she found not diminishment, but liberation. The weight of maintaining a perfect facade slowly lifted, replaced by a lightness she hadn't known was possible. This humility allowed her to truly listen, to truly see, and to truly connect. It opened her to wisdom from unexpected sources and to the beauty in everyday moments. She realized that pride had kept her in a self-imposed prison, isolating her from the very richness of life she claimed to be pursuing. The experience taught her that true power resides not in dominance over others, but in self-mastery and the grace to acknowledge one's limitations. This profound understanding transformed her approach to life, fostering patience, empathy, and a deep respect for all individuals, regardless of their status. This journey from an arrogant, self-made millionaire to a humble, faith-filled woman underscores the transformative power of humility. It highlights how letting go of pride can unlock deeper compassion and a profound sense of peace, illustrating a core principle central to her spiritual fulfillment. Through her trials, the woman discovered the incredible strength found in vulnerability. Previously, vulnerability was viewed as a fatal flaw, a chink in her armor. Now, stripped of all defenses, she realized it was the very gateway to authentic connection and genuine healing. When she allowed herself to be truly seen, her struggles, her fears, her past mistakes, she found not judgment, but understanding and acceptance from her new community. This experience taught her that courage lies not in never falling, but in rising again, and in allowing others to help you along the way. This openness fostered a profound sense of self-acceptance. She no longer felt the need to project an image of perfection, embracing her imperfections as part of her human journey. This inner freedom was a radical departure from her past, where every action was meticulously calculated for effect. Her story encourages us to reconsider our own relationship with vulnerability. In a world that often celebrates strength and resilience, it reminds us that true human connection often begins when we dare to be authentic, revealing our true selves without fear. This newfound comfort with vulnerability was a critical component of her spiritual growth, allowing her to forge deeper, more meaningful relationships and to experience a profound sense of belonging. It paved the way for her heart to fully open, preparing her for an even deeper spiritual commitment. As her faith deepened, the woman's priorities underwent a complete overhaul. The pursuit of financial gain, once her sole focus, was replaced by a fervent desire to live a life aligned with her newly found spiritual values. Her definition of success had fundamentally changed. She began to measure her days not by profit margins, but by moments of connection, acts of kindness, and periods of quiet contemplation. The frenetic pace of her former life gave way to a more deliberate, intentional existence, valuing presence over productivity and meaning over accumulation. Her decisions were now guided by principles of compassion, integrity, and service, rather than personal gain or competitive advantage. This ethical framework provided a clear moral compass, leading her to choices that nurtured her soul and contributed positively to her community. She recognized that while she might never regain her former material wealth, she possessed something far more valuable, an inner peace that transcended external circumstances. This profound contentment was impervious to market fluctuations or social standing, offering a stable foundation for her new life. This radical shift in priorities underscores the core message of her journey. True richness is not defined by what you own, but by who you are and how you live. This ethical transformation was a continuous process, guiding her towards a life of authentic purpose and spiritual fulfillment. Her journey wasn't without its challenges. Even after finding faith, doubts still crept in. Old habits sometimes resurfaced, and the memory of her past failures could be painful. The path of spiritual growth is rarely a straight line, but rather a winding road with its own set of trials. You might experience similar moments of questioning or faltering in your own journey. Her story reminds us that faith isn't a magical cure-all, but a source of strength that helps navigate life's complexities. It provides resilience, not immunity, to hardship. She learned to confront these internal struggles with patience and self-compassion, rather than the harsh self-criticism of her past. She understood that progress was more important than perfection, and that every stumble offered another opportunity for learning and growth. This acknowledgement of ongoing struggle makes her transformation even more powerful and relatable. It demystifies the idea of spiritual awakening, presenting it as an ongoing process of practice and persistence rather than a single, instantaneous event. Her ability to embrace these ongoing challenges with a renewed sense of hope further solidified her spiritual foundation. It showcased the enduring power of faith to provide guidance and inner fortitude, proving its worth far beyond any material possession. One of the most profound lessons she absorbed was the concept of forgiveness, both for others and for herself. Her past was riddled with decisions born of arrogance and self-interest, and holding on to that regret was a heavy chain. Learning to forgive released her from that burden. You might carry similar regrets or resentments from your past. Her experience shows that true freedom comes not from forgetting, but from releasing the emotional hold of past hurts. Forgiving others untangled her from bitterness, while forgiving herself allowed her to move forward with a clear conscience. This act of forgiveness wasn't about condoning past actions, but about choosing peace over resentment and healing over perpetual pain. It was a conscious decision to break free from the cycle of blame, allowing grace and compassion to enter her heart more fully. The transformative power of forgiveness allowed her to rebuild trust, both in herself and in others. It was a vital step in reconnecting with humanity and fostering genuine, open relationships, unburdened by the echoes of her previous life. This profound journey of forgiveness became a cornerstone of her new spiritual identity, demonstrating how letting go of the past can pave the way for a future filled with hope and genuine connection, further deepening her understanding of faith's true value. Her new life was built on simple foundations: meaningful work, community involvement, and spiritual practice. She found fulfilling purpose not in accumulating wealth, but in contributing to the well-being of others, often through humble and unsung efforts. She might spend her days volunteering at local charities, sharing her story with those who felt lost, or simply offering a listening ear to someone in need. These actions, devoid of financial reward, brought a profound sense of satisfaction that her previous corporate triumphs never could. Her former sharp business acumen, once applied to increasing her own fortune, now found new expression in organizing community initiatives or improving local services. She used her skills for collective good, realizing that true leadership lies in serving, not in dominating. You might be inspired to find ways to integrate your own skills and passions into service, discovering how much more fulfilling it can be. Her story illustrates that every talent, no matter how specialized, can be repurposed for a higher purpose, contributing to a richer, more meaningful life. This radical shift in her daily activities and overarching purpose showcased the practical application of her spiritual awakening. It demonstrated that faith is not merely a belief system, but a dynamic force that reshapes how we live, providing a template for a life of intentional contribution. The woman's journey also serves as a potent reminder of the transient nature of material possessions. You might build an empire, but it can crumble. You might amass treasures, but they can be lost. What truly endures are the values you live by, the love you share, and the spiritual foundation you cultivate. She learned firsthand that seeking security in material wealth is like building a house on sand. When the storms inevitably come, those foundations will give way. True security, she discovered, resides in an unwavering faith and an inner resilience that transcends external circumstances. This understanding liberated her from the constant fear of loss that had secretly plagued her wealthy years. She realized that by holding on to things too tightly, she had actually been losing something far more precious: her peace of mind and her connection to spiritual truths. Her story encourages us to assess where we place our own sense of security and value. Are we investing in what is fleeting or in what is eternal? This introspection can be a powerful catalyst for re-evaluating our priorities and redirecting our energies towards what truly matters. This profound insight into the impermanence of material things was a crucial element of her spiritual maturation, providing a solid framework for understanding life's true, lasting treasures. It became a guiding principle for her new life, emphasizing the enduring power of faith over worldly possessions. Her story is an invitation to explore the spiritual dimension of your own life, regardless of your current circumstances. Whether you are rich or poor, successful or struggling, the human need for meaning, purpose, and connection to something greater is universal. You might find yourself recognizing elements of her journey in your own experiences, moments of doubt, periods of introspection, or an undeniable yearning for something more profound. Her path demonstrates that spiritual awakening is a deeply personal, yet universally accessible journey. It encourages you to consider how your own values align with your actions and whether your definition of a rich life truly encompasses spiritual well-being. This self-assessment can be a powerful step towards greater authenticity and fulfillment. This narrative is not about prescribing a specific path, but about opening your mind to the possibilities of spiritual growth and transformation. It suggests that the answers you seek might not be found in external pursuits, but in a deeper engagement with your inner world and a higher power. Her ultimate peace and profound contentment stand as a powerful testament to the value of pursuing spiritual wealth. It provides a hopeful blueprint for anyone seeking a life rich in meaning, purpose, and lasting joy, regardless of their material circumstances. One unexpected gift of her fall was the ability to truly appreciate the simple things in life. When every luxury was commonplace, nothing felt truly special. Now, a warm meal, a sunny day, or a genuine conversation carried immense weight and joy. You might find that in moments of personal challenge, these small blessings become incredibly vivid, providing unexpected comfort. Her experience highlights how adversity can sharpen our senses and deepen our capacity for gratitude, transforming everyday moments into profound sources of contentment. She discovered beauty in simplicity, in the quiet rhythm of daily life that had once been anathema to her fast-paced existence. The absence of constant stimulation allowed her to slow down, to observe, and to truly savor the present moment, a skill lost in her previous life. This newfound appreciation was a direct result of losing everything. It taught her that happiness is not dependent on grand gestures or extravagant possessions, but on cultivating a grateful heart and finding joy in the ordinary. This profound shift in her perspective on simple pleasures deeply enriched her life, demonstrating how true contentment can be found in the most unexpected places. It became a powerful daily reminder of faith's ability to transform even the most mundane experiences into moments of grace. The woman's story offers a compelling redefinition of success. For years, her success was quantifiable by assets, power, and influence. Now, her success is measured by her inner peace, her capacity for love, and her positive impact on the lives of others. You are invited to consider your own definition of success. Does it truly encompass all dimensions of well-being, mental, emotional, spiritual, as well as material? Her journey suggests that a holistic view of success is far more sustainable and fulfilling. She learned that true achievement lies not in what you accumulate, but in who you become. Her transformation from a proud, isolated millionaire to a humble, connected woman of faith is a testament to this deeper, more enduring form of success. This narrative challenges the dominant cultural paradigms that often equate worth with wealth. It offers an alternative vision where character, compassion, and spiritual integrity are the ultimate benchmarks of a life well lived. This redefinition of success is a powerful and liberating message, providing a framework for pursuing a life that is truly rich in every sense of the word. It highlights the lasting value of spiritual growth over fleeting material accomplishments. Her spiritual journey profoundly influenced her relationship with time. In her former life, time was a commodity, to be managed, optimized, and filled with productive activity. Now, time became a gift, to be savored, spent meaningfully, and shared with those she loved. You might often feel pressured by the relentless march of time, constantly striving to do more, achieve more. Her experience invites you to pause, to reflect on how you are allocating this precious resource and whether it truly aligns with your deepest values. She learned that some of the most profound moments in life occur in stillness, in quiet reflection, or in spontaneous acts of kindness, rather than in meticulously planned schedules. This shift allowed her to experience a deeper presence in each moment. The urgency of her past, driven by endless deadlines and financial pressures, gave way to a patient acceptance of life's natural rhythms. This newfound tranquility brought a sense of inner spaciousness and freedom that money could never buy. This transformation in her perception and use of time underscores the profound shift in her priorities and values. It demonstrates how a spiritual perspective can enrich every aspect of life, revealing the true preciousness of each passing moment. The woman's narrative is a powerful example of how adversity can be a disguised blessing, a catalyst for profound personal growth. While no one wishes for hardship, her story reveals its potential to strip away the superficial and expose the essential. You might have faced your own moments of crisis, feeling overwhelmed and lost. Her journey offers hope, demonstrating that even the most devastating losses can lead to unexpected discoveries and a deeper understanding of yourself and the world. She realized that without the fall, she might never have looked beyond her material gains, never questioned her pride, and never discovered the spiritual wellspring within her. The pain of loss became the pathway to an infinitely richer existence. This perspective doesn't romanticize suffering, but acknowledges its transformative potential. It suggests that even in our darkest hours, there lies an opportunity for growth, for resilience, and for uncovering hidden strengths we never knew we possessed. Her ability to find grace and purpose amidst profound loss is a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit when guided by faith. It highlights how adversity, when met with introspection, can lead to the most profound and valuable transformations. Her journey also highlights the crucial difference between seeking happiness externally versus cultivating it internally. In her wealthy life, happiness was pursued through acquisitions and achievements. Now it emanated from within, a product of her transformed heart. You might also find yourself chasing external markers of happiness, a new car, a promotion, a perfect vacation. Her story reminds us that while these things can bring fleeting pleasure, true, lasting joy is cultivated through inner work, spiritual practice, and meaningful relationships. She understood that external circumstances are constantly shifting, making external happiness inherently unstable. By rooting her joy in faith and internal values, she built a resilient inner sanctuary that remained undisturbed by the world's fluctuations. This shift from an outward focus to an inward one was a defining characteristic of her spiritual awakening. It taught her that genuine contentment is not found in what you have, but in how you are, in the state of your soul. This cultivation of internal happiness is a key takeaway from her transformative experience, providing a powerful model for achieving genuine and sustainable joy. It demonstrates that the most precious treasures are always found within. A crucial aspect of her transformation involved letting go of control, a concept previously anathema to her. As a powerful businesswoman, Control was her mantra, her method for navigating a complex world. Losing everything forced her to surrender. You might also feel the relentless pressure to control every aspect of your life, from your career to your relationships. Her story suggests that sometimes true freedom comes from accepting what you cannot control and entrusting the unknown to a higher power. This surrender was not an act of weakness, but an immense act of faith. It was a conscious choice to release the burden of needing to orchestrate every outcome, allowing for a more spontaneous and graceful flow to her life. She realized that clinging to control had been exhausting, fostering anxiety and limiting her ability to embrace unexpected opportunities. Letting go allowed for a newfound sense of peace and a deeper trust in life's unfolding journey. This embrace of surrender was a profound spiritual lesson, marking a significant departure from her former self. It highlights how releasing the need for absolute control can open doors to deeper peace and spiritual alignment, reinforcing faith's guiding hand. Her story offers a powerful lesson in distinguishing between needs and wants. When you have everything you want, it's easy to lose sight of what you truly need for survival and well-being. Losing it all brought this distinction into sharp focus. You might be caught in the cycle of constant consumption, blurring the lines between desires and genuine necessities. Her journey encourages a reevaluation, prompting you to consider what truly nourishes your soul versus what merely entertains your ego. She discovered that her true needs were far simpler than her previous wants: shelter, food, community, and spiritual sustenance. The endless pursuit of luxury had obscured these fundamental human requirements, leaving her spiritually malnourished. This clarity around needs and wants led to a more intentional and grateful way of living. She appreciated the basics, understood their value, and found contentment in sufficiency rather than excess. This profound recalibration of what truly constitutes enough was a cornerstone of her ethical transformation, demonstrating that true satisfaction comes from aligning with fundamental human needs rather than endless material desires. This newfound clarity solidified her spiritual path. The woman's journey reveals how solitude, initially a source of painful isolation, became a fertile ground for spiritual discovery. In the quiet of her new life, away from the constant noise and demands of her former world, she found space for introspection and connection. You might find it challenging to embrace solitude in a constantly connected world, often filling every spare moment with distractions. Her experience suggests that intentional quiet time is essential for self-reflection and for hearing the whispers of your own soul. She learned that true connection to a higher power often begins in stillness, when the mind is allowed to quiet and the heart is open to receive. These moments of introspection became invaluable for her spiritual growth, allowing for profound personal revelations. This intentional engagement with solitude was a radical departure from her past, where every moment was either productive or socially engaged. Now, these periods of quiet contemplation became vital for recharging her spirit and deepening her faith. This transformation of solitude from a burden to a blessing underscores its critical role in spiritual development, demonstrating how intentional quietness can lead to profound internal discoveries and a stronger connection to the divine. Her story is a powerful reminder of the enduring human capacity for resilience. Despite losing everything, facing public humiliation, and grappling with profound despair, she found the strength to rebuild, not just her life, but her very self, on a foundation of faith. You might face moments where your own resilience is tested, where challenges seem insurmountable. Her journey offers a testament to the fact that you possess an inner strength capable of overcoming even the most daunting obstacles, especially when anchored by spiritual belief. She discovered that resilience wasn't about being impervious to pain, but about learning to bend without breaking, to adapt, and to find new pathways forward when old ones closed. It was a muscle she developed through consistent spiritual practice and unwavering hope. This innate human capacity for bouncing back, particularly when fueled by a deeper purpose, is a hopeful message. It assures us that even after profound setbacks, there is always potential for growth, for new beginnings, and for a renewed sense of purpose. Her remarkable resilience anchored in her rediscovered faith, became a source of inspiration, proving that the human spirit can not only survive, but thrive after profound loss. It provided a powerful example of enduring strength and unwavering hope. The woman's journey also sheds light on the nature of true wealth. Before, wealth was measured in tangible assets. Now, it is an abundance of spiritual blessings, peace, joy, love, and a deep connection to her faith. This is a wealth that never depreciates. You are encouraged to consider what truly constitutes wealth in your own life. Is it merely financial, or does it encompass the richness of your relationships, your inner peace, and your spiritual well-being? Her story argues for a broader, more profound definition. She learned that material possessions are finite and fleeting, subject to the whims of markets and the ravages of time. Spiritual wealth, however, is limitless and eternal, providing an inexhaustible source of nourishment for the soul. This shift in perspective on wealth brought a profound sense of liberation. She was no longer bound by the pursuit of external riches, but was free to cultivate an inner abundance that would sustain her through any future challenge. This powerful redefinition of wealth forms the crux of her transformative experience, providing a clear illustration of why faith is ultimately worth more than any fortune. It highlights the enduring and boundless nature of spiritual prosperity. Her story teaches us about the profound impact of gratitude, transforming her once entitled perspective into one of deep appreciation. When everything was taken, she learned to be grateful for the simplest blessings, finding joy in what remained rather than dwelling on what was lost. You might find that cultivating gratitude, even for the smallest things, can profoundly shift your outlook during challenging times. Her journey shows that an attitude of gratitude opens your heart and allows more blessings to enter your life. She practiced gratitude not as a superficial act, but as a deep spiritual discipline, recognizing the divine presence in every small kindness, every sunrise, every shared meal. This continuous acknowledgement brought an immense sense of joy and contentment. This conscious shift from complaint to appreciation was a pivotal part of her spiritual evolution. It transformed her daily experience, turning potential sources of bitterness into opportunities for recognizing grace and abundance. This profound embrace of gratitude became a cornerstone of her new spiritual life, demonstrating its power to cultivate joy and peace, and further reinforcing the immeasurable value of her newfound faith. The woman's journey is a vivid example of discovering divine grace in unexpected places. In her moments of deepest despair, when she felt utterly abandoned, she experienced subtle acts of kindness and unforeseen comforts that she eventually attributed to a higher power. You might have moments in your own life where unexpected help or solace appeared during a crisis, prompting you to wonder about a guiding hand. Her story encourages you to recognize and acknowledge these instances of grace, no matter how small. She realized that grace often manifests not in grand miracles, but in the quiet strength to endure, in the unconditional love of a stranger, or in the peacefulness found in a moment of prayer. These subtle encounters nurtured her spirit and sustained her. This recognition of grace transformed her understanding of the divine, moving from a distant, abstract concept to a deeply personal and present force in her life. It fostered a profound sense of trust and reassurance. This unfolding awareness of divine grace was a critical component of her spiritual deepening, providing comfort and conviction that she was never truly alone. It solidified her belief that God provides what money cannot buy. Her new life also embodied a profound commitment to authenticity. Stripped of the need to impress or maintain a facade, she lived with an integrity and transparency that was refreshing and deeply resonant. She was truly herself, perhaps for the first time. You might find yourself occasionally performing for others, tailoring your persona to fit expectations. Her experience encourages you to shed those masks and embrace your true self, imperfections and all, finding freedom in honesty. She learned that authenticity fosters genuine connection, attracting people who appreciate her for who she truly is, not for her former status or wealth. These relationships built on truth were far more rewarding and sustainable. This commitment to living an authentic life was a direct outcome of her spiritual awakening, aligning her external actions with her internal values. It brought a profound sense of peace and congruence to her daily existence. This radical embrace of authenticity became a defining characteristic of her transformed self, demonstrating how spiritual integrity can lead to genuine freedom and deeper, more meaningful connections in life. Her story stands as a powerful testament to the idea that true transformation is an inside job. While external circumstances played a role, the profound changes she experienced originated from within her heart and mind, a testament to her spiritual journey. You are invited to reflect on your own inner landscape. Are you seeking external solutions for internal discontent? Her journey suggests that lasting peace and fulfillment stem from cultivating a rich inner life, anchored in faith and purpose. She understood that no amount of external wealth or success could compensate for an impoverished spirit. Her focus shifted from acquiring things to cultivating virtues, from external validation to internal peace. This emphasis on internal change is a fundamental principle of spiritual growth, reminding us that genuine happiness is not found in what happens to us, but in how we respond to it, and in the state of our own soul. This internal transformation was the most enduring and valuable outcome of her journey, illustrating that the greatest treasures are cultivated within and are impervious to external losses. This truth became her unwavering foundation. Her journey profoundly highlights the role of spiritual healing. The wounds of betrayal, loss, and public shame were deep, but through faith, community, and self-forgiveness, she found a path to mend her fractured spirit. You might carry your own wounds from past experiences, perhaps feeling stuck or unable to move forward. Her story offers hope, demonstrating that spiritual practices and connection can provide profound comfort and lead to genuine emotional healing. She learned that healing wasn't about erasing the past, but about integrating it into her story, drawing strength from her trials, and allowing grace to transform her pain into wisdom. Her scars became symbols of her resilience. This process of spiritual healing was gradual, requiring patience and persistent engagement with her faith. It taught her that true restoration of the soul is possible, even after the most devastating blows. This deep spiritual healing became a central aspect of her new life, allowing her to live free from the bitterness and regret of her past and demonstrating the profound restorative power of faith. The woman's story offers a compelling model for living a purposeful life, no longer driven by ego or ambition, but by a desire to contribute positively to the world. Her purpose became intertwined with her faith and her commitment to serving others. You might be searching for your own sense of purpose, feeling a void despite external achievements. Her journey suggests that true purpose often emerges when we look beyond ourselves and seek to make a difference in the lives of others. She found that purpose brought an immense sense of meaning and direction to her days. It was a driving force that transcended personal desires, providing a profound motivation to live each day with intention and impact. This shift from a self-serving ambition to a higher altruistic purpose was a hallmark of her spiritual transformation. It demonstrated that a life dedicated to something greater than oneself is ultimately the most fulfilling. This renewed sense of purpose became the compass guiding her new existence, showcasing the enduring power of faith to infuse life with deep meaning and direction. It underlined that purpose is a gift money cannot buy. Her profound transformation served as a beacon of hope for others who felt lost or overwhelmed by material losses. She began to share her story, not for accolades, but to inspire others to look beyond their circumstances and discover their own spiritual strength. You might find that sharing your own journey, even your struggles, can be incredibly empowering and helpful to others. Her experience illustrates that vulnerability, when shared authentically, fosters connection and offers a universal message of hope. She realized that her personal trials, once sources of shame, could now be instruments of encouragement. Her story became a living testament to the redemptive power of faith, offering practical insights and genuine compassion to those navigating their own crises. This act of sharing was a natural extension of her spiritual growth, moving her beyond self-reflection to outward generosity of spirit. It was a way to give back, to illuminate the path for others, and to reinforce the invaluable lessons she had learned. This mission to inspire others became an integral part of her purpose, demonstrating how personal adversity can be transformed into a source of collective strength and spiritual guidance. It underscored the ripple effect of genuine faith. One profound aspect of her new perspective was her approach to material possessions. She no longer viewed them as indicators of worth or sources of happiness, but as temporary tools or blessings to be managed with responsibility and gratitude. You might also consider your own relationship with possessions. Do they own you, or do you own them? Her journey encourages a detachment from material things, fostering a freedom that allows for greater generosity and less anxiety about loss. She understood that true abundance wasn't about having more, but about having enough, and about sharing what you have with those in need. This stewardship mindset replaced her former consumer-driven mentality. This shift brought a deep sense of contentment and liberation. She no longer felt the pressure to constantly acquire or to keep up appearances, finding peace in a simpler, more spiritually aligned way of living. This transformed relationship with material possessions was a clear manifestation of her inner spiritual work, demonstrating how faith reorders priorities and fosters a sustainable, joyful approach to life's resources. Her journey is a living testament to the unwavering nature of faith, even when everything else crumbles. While friends, fortune, and status vanished, her connection to a higher power deepened, becoming her most constant and reliable source of strength. You might be seeking an anchor in uncertain times, something reliable that won't shift with the winds of change. Her story powerfully illustrates that faith can be that unshakable foundation, providing stability and hope when all else seems lost. She learned that true spiritual connection is not dependent on external circumstances or worldly achievements. It is an internal sanctuary, a personal relationship that grows stronger through adversity and quiet devotion. This steadfastness of her faith, forged in the crucible of loss, became her guiding light and her ultimate comfort. It provided a sense of belonging and meaning that transcended any material void. This powerful demonstration of faith's enduring power and steadfastness became the central message of her life, proving that what God gives truly is something money could never buy. Her story highlights the peace that comes from an internal surrender to a higher plan. No longer battling against fate or trying to exert absolute control, she found serenity in trusting that there was a divine purpose even in her profound losses. You might also wrestle with circumstances beyond your control, feeling frustration or despair. Her journey encourages you to consider the liberating power of surrender, finding peace in releasing your grip and trusting in a greater wisdom. She learned that surrendering didn't mean giving up. It meant letting go of the need to understand every detail or orchestrate every outcome. It was an act of faith, allowing for grace and unexpected blessings to enter her life. This profound internal peace, born from surrender, was a radical departure from the constant striving and anxiety of her former life. It provided a stable inner state that was immune to external pressures. This embrace of divine plan and internal peace became a defining aspect of her spiritual maturity, demonstrating how faith provides a framework for navigating life's unpredictable journey with grace and equanimity. This woman's transformation powerfully illustrates that true fulfillment is not found in the accumulation of wealth, but in the cultivation of spiritual virtues. Love, compassion, patience, and humility became her most prized possessions, enriching her life beyond measure. You might be striving for success, but question whether it will bring ultimate happiness. Her story prompts you to consider that lasting joy comes from nurturing your character and living a life aligned with higher values rather than purely external achievements. She understood that material wealth could buy comforts, but not genuine love or inner peace. These invaluable spiritual assets were cultivated through her trials and her unwavering commitment to faith, providing a deep and enduring satisfaction. This shift in focus from material acquisition to spiritual cultivation was a deliberate and transformative choice. It led her to a life of profound meaning, where every action was an opportunity to embody her newfound virtues. This emphasis on spiritual virtues became the enduring legacy of her journey, demonstrating how faith empowers us to build a life rich in intrinsic value and profound contentment. It proved that these are gifts money can never purchase. Her story serves as an inspiring blueprint for rebuilding life on a foundation of faith. Even when everything material is lost, a strong spiritual core provides the strength and vision to construct a new existence filled with meaning and purpose. You might be facing your own moments of rebuilding, whether from personal loss or career setbacks. Her journey offers practical insights into prioritizing values, fostering community, and drawing strength from a spiritual connection to guide your path forward. She didn't just survive her loss, she thrived, creating a life far richer in genuine connection, purpose, and inner peace than her previous wealthy existence. This rebuilding was a testament to the resilience found in spiritual conviction. This process of rebuilding wasn't about regaining what was lost, but about creating something entirely new and more authentic. It was a conscious choice to live by faith, day by day, moment by moment, guided by a deeper sense of direction. This powerful example of rebuilding a life rooted in faith provides a hopeful and actionable framework for anyone seeking profound, lasting transformation. It underscores the ultimate and unparalleled value that spiritual grounding offers. Her journey concludes with a powerful, undeniable truth. The peace, joy, and profound purpose she found through faith were gifts that money, even in its greatest abundance, could never have bought. This is the ultimate lesson of her transformation. You are invited to carry this message into your own life, that true wealth resides not in what you possess, but in the state of your spirit. This realization can liberate you from endless striving and open your heart to a deeper, more meaningful existence. She became living proof that sometimes losing everything is the only way to gain what truly matters: an intimate connection with the divine, a humble heart, and a profound appreciation for life's intangible treasures. Her story resonates as a timeless truth. If her journey resonated with you, consider exploring your own spiritual path, seeking those priceless gifts that transcend material value. Your own transformation might begin by simply opening your heart to the possibilities of faith. Ultimately, her life became a beacon, illuminating the profound truth that faith is worth more than any fortune. Her story is a timeless reminder that while money can buy many things, it cannot buy what God freely gives: an enduring peace, and boundless love, and a true purpose.